Hello, everybody. It is the Benjamin Bloom Football Show. Welcome along to this, the Championship review for game week number 39. We will be going through every single game, and I would love your comments game by game. What happened to your team this game week? Remember, we are back, our second game week in Project Restart. And look at the calendar. This was the only one that had a week to prepare. Now everything gets a little bit silly for about 4 weeks. It's going to be Saturday, midweek, right the way through now these last 7 games. It's going to be crazy. A lot is going to happen, and a lot has already happened in these couple of days. So let's go through. Please, if you are in the chat, if you are watching on YouTube or Twitter, hit the like button on whatever platform you're on. That allows more people to come and find us and come and see us, so we get a little bit more debate going in the comments. And as it says at the bottom, you can support the channel by donating via Super Chat on YouTube. Just hit that dollar button, or you can subscribe on Patreon. Okay, as per usual, let's start at the very top. And we have new leaders in the Championship in the shape of Leeds United, who had this big game, this much vaunted game before the lockdown. All the Leeds fans were looking at this game. This is the one where Leeds fans did not want points dropped. They wanted them to get out without losing. And it all turned up very nicely for Leeds in this one. A 3-0 victory over Fulham. Well, 4th place Fulham there, it says. They were in 3rd place. In fact, that's incorrect now, because Nottingham Forest have gone up into 4th place themselves, haven't they? I wonder if we can change that on the fly. There we go. The wonders of technology, before someone corrects me over in the comments. So really good performance by Leeds. Bamford gives them the lead on 10 minutes. Remember, there was a bit of a naughty elbow from Mitrovic before that. And then Fulham take over up until half-time, but critically, Fulham do not score while they are on top. That allows Bielsa to make some changes, some tweaks at half-time. In comes Pablo Hernandez, and then the game swings wildly in Leeds' favour. Alioski with the 2nd goal on 56. Harrison with the 3rd goal, featuring a wonderful pass from the aforementioned Hernandez on 71. So Leeds move to the top of the table. In fact, it may be a good time, for the first time in this broadcast, to bring up the league table. There it is. So Leeds 3 points clear of West Brom in 2nd, and 8 points clear of Brentford in 3rd. Fulham drop down to 5th. They're probably comfortable in that playoff position. However, if that run that you can see that says draw, loss over the last 3 games, if anything like that continues for Fulham, then they're going to be looking over their shoulders rather than above them, which is not what Fulham fans want. They wanted a push towards the top 2. It hasn't happened. So really good day for Leeds. They're looking very strong. I'll bring it up one more time. 7 games to go and an 8-point gap. Leeds can afford to shed 1 point per game on their rivals now, and they will still make it over the line in either 1st or 2nd place. Fulham need a little bit of a pep up, don't they? So let me know if you are in the comments. Anything to say about anything for that? Charles says, justice against Fulham for that 4-arm smash. Now down to 5th. Get involved in the comments as we go through game by game here. The next one was the Friday night one. We also did this on the channel. By the way, if you want detailed reviews of either the Leeds game, the Brentford game, or the Forest game, did all 3 over the course of this weekend. And the first one was on Friday night, where Brentford went up into 3rd place with a 1-0 victory over West Brom. Similar kind of way they got to the win than Leeds did, really. I know Leeds far more comfortable in terms of the scoreline, but Brentford breaking away early to take the lead. Watkins with the goal on 16. And then West Brom do have strong periods in this game, but ultimately not enough, and Brentford managed to see it out. Brentford, impressive since they've been back. A 2-0 win at Fulham, a 1-0 win over West Brom, looking very, very good. Up to third place. We better bring that table up again. Direct rivals here, 5 points difference between the two. 7 games to go and a 5-point lead. Is it an assailable lead? We'll find out. West Brom know their destiny's in their own hand, and if they stick either 6 or 7 points over the next 3 games, they'll be looking still very, very strong. It'd be hard for Brentford to keep on that WWW run there. But if you're looking at form, and we can look at form here by hitting this button, West Brom there in the middle, bang in the middle of the form table, 8 points from the last 6, if you look down there in 12th. And the last 4 games, lost, drawn, lost. Look for Brentford there in 4th place in the form table. 3 wins on the trot and 10 points in the last 4. So, basic maths exercise says that if the form continues of both sides, that gap will get smaller. But logic would also say that West Brom are second for a reason, and they're not going to stay on 8 points from 6 games form. That's going to, hopefully for their fans, shift up to 9 or 10, which we've all said, Leeds and West Brom, we've all said, nerds like me have said 1.5 points per game for both Leeds and West Brom should see them over the line. West Brom certainly ain't getting it at the moment. Let's have a look at some comments. Sarah says, that's right. I think she agrees with Charles' issue on Mitrovic's elbow. Sharif says, do I think any of the top 2 could bottle it? Well, Leeds look a lot more comfortable now than West Brom. West Brom could bottle it. Yes, of course they could. 5 points gap is 5 points gap. God, the great Manchester United bottled a bigger lead than that, didn't they, to lose the title? Was that in the Aguero season? I think they were like 7 points ahead with 4 games to go or something crazy like that. Someone correct me on that. But PH Leeds, absolutely buzzing. Not surprised. Kent, Leeds in a great position, and I don't think Bielsa will allow complacency. Of course he won't. Lewis says, West Brom in trouble. Not scored in 4. Is that true? So no goals in those last 4, as well as only 2 points. Sarah adds, Weather Brom. Autocorrect on her phone, no doubt. West Brom on a very bad run. Indeed. Cool. Great to have so many people in the chat commenting. I know I always plug it gets boring. Just hit that thumbs up button for me. Just helps attract more people on YouTube and Twitter. The game this afternoon, which I also covered. Oh my God, I need to update my slides, don't I, before I do this. Let's just hit a quick little button here so no one corrects me in the comments. Save and click on that. Sorry, everybody. Forest in 4th position. Huddersfield in 22nd. Forest winning this one 3-1. I did the pre-match for this one, and the comments were like, oh, I'm worried, Ben. This is going to be a drab one. I hope you're not bored. It was really good. The first half was excellent, actually. Always find tactically Forest an interesting team to watch. Both sides try to counter-attack each other. Annoyingly, for Huddersfield fans, both teams have good strikers in Grabham and Grant, and both of those players had 2 chances by about 46 minutes, and Lewis Grabham took both of his, and Carlin Grant didn't take either of his. On small things, these games are decided, especially where Forest are concerned. They'll be tight. They won't give you many chances. You've got to take them when you get them. Grabham on 43 and on 46, killing the game off for Forest. Yates added a 3rd, and I have to say by that time, on the balance, Forest were well on top. Huddersfield were very open, and when we look at the table, we'll see why they were very open, because there's a hell of a chase going on at the bottom there. But Cowley didn't want to lay down at 2-0. He wanted something from the game. I admire that, but Forest just picked them off a few times. And Lolly had a chance. Naomi had a chance. Grabham had no chance. Genuinely could have been a 3 or 4 goal win this one. So I'm impressed with that performance from Forest there. Yates added the 3rd. Bacuna crazily got himself red carded. A few red cards this weekend. In fact, I didn't mention Cabana got red carded for Fulham, didn't he? And then Carl Grant did score in the end for Huddersfield. Let's bring that table up and look for these two teams. Here they're Forest in fourth. Forest could finish in third place this season, couldn't they? Look, they're only 2 points off Brentford. Brentford are in pretty fine nick, and they are the ones people are looking at. But Forest will have been looking over their shoulders at Cardiff and Derby, particularly. Those two are on a tear, aren't they? Playing well and scoring points at the moment. Now, Huddersfield are down so low that I'm going to have to remove that. Am I going to have to remove the ticker as well to see them? Let's get rid of it for a second. There are Huddersfield down in 22nd, 3 straight defeats. And what is going very badly for Huddersfield at the moment is look at the other teams. Barnsley 4 points in 2, Luton 4 points in 2, Hull and Stoke both with 1, Boro with 3, and then look at Charlton and Wigan, 6 points in 2 games since Project Restart. People are going to get left behind, and I've said it many times this weekend. Someone could be relegated with 50 points this season. Incredible tear at the bottom, and incredible for Luton and Barnsley. Look at that from Barnes. Well, let's bring up the form table to just show you how many teams in that bottom 6. You'll see Wigan right at the top of the form table, but then Barnsley in 6th, Stoke in 7th, Luton in 9th, Charlton in 10th, all down in that bottom part of the table. Incredible tear at the bottom, and Huddersfield at the moment are the victims of the absolutely rip-roaring form of all the teams down the bottom there. Julian says, how poor are Norwich? Well, not very good at the moment. Oliver, great stuff. Oliver is a Patreon subscriber, so thank you, Oliver, for your support. You can see on the bottom there. And he's a Huddersfield fan. Really worried now. All the big moments are going against us. I think we do have enough quality. As an Ipswich fan, do you see any similarities between Huddersfield and yourself last year? The good news for you, Oliver, is I don't see any similarities between Ipswich and Huddersfield. Huddersfield are much, much better than Ipswich were last year. Ipswich were terrible, a terrible, terrible football team last year. Huddersfield have good management who have improved the form there. And there's some good players in there. They've got a striker who can score. Stearman and Schindler should be decent at the back. O'Brien looks a good player. But they need some results, don't they, Huddersfield? I think, given Hull, and given that Luton and Barnsley, and there's a bit of a gap, and given the possibility of Sheffield Wednesday having 9, 10, 12 points deducted, Huddersfield should be all right. But the Cowleys have always been able to get wins, haven't they, right through their career? So, yeah, we'll see. But I wouldn't be worried. Don't compare them to Ipswich, Oliver. Don't worry about that. Oliver is watching Newcastle Man City. First one I've watched since lockdown. What is with the drinks break? Yeah. Lots of those. Charles, getting interest in the top and bottom of the league. Great for loads of fans. Yeah, almost. It's most interesting from sort of 6 to 12 and the bottom 8. Sarah says Wigan on a mate. We're going to get onto Wigan. How good are Wigan at the moment? Moving on to another team that's very, very good at the moment, and that's Cardiff. Cardiff, I expected, and I'm quite pleased about this, because when I revisit my pre-season predictions, I had Cardiff and Warnock. Surely I had them in the top 3 or the top 4. And they haven't been very good for a lot of the season, but they've come back really, really focused and look really, really good. Harris seems to be all over that. And they've had 2 straight wins, but not just 2 straight wins. They've beaten Leeds and they've won away at Preston. So they've beaten probably the best team in the league in Leeds, and then their absolute direct rivals. So I'm very impressed with Cardiff at the moment. It was Rolls giving them the lead in the second half. Daniel Johnson got the equaliser for Preston, but they've got strength. I assume these guys were on the bench, Mendes, Lang and Glatzel. And Mendes, Lang, decent goal by him. And then Glatzel does it again. Second game running. You know things are going well when you start in teams. You start as a playing well and your subs are coming on and contributing as well. Very impressed with Cardiff at the moment, and a slight little deviation away from exact Warnock ball. We're kind of halfway between Warnock, Cardiff 17-18 and Harris Millwall 17-18, which, given how good both of those teams were that season, and one of them got promoted, is no bad thing. Let's look at it in context. Let's just look at the form table and you will see. I'll need to remove the banner at the bottom there for you to see Preston, 22nd, 4 points from 6 games. They're in horrible form. 4 defeats and a loss in the last 5. And you'll see Cardiff moving on up there. Lovely. 3 wins on the bounce. Only one of 3 teams you can see there to have 3 wins on the trot. The simple statement from me here is Cardiff are in very good form. Preston are in very bad form. And Preston have really relied on their home form. Lewis, no FFP charges for a year. Oh, I don't know where that's been reported. He says Telegraph reported this week. Well, that will be a huge story. And Barnsley have already threatened to go legal if that one happens. So, yeah, watch this space on that one. Jaggy, can see Cardiff getting promoted on current form? Yes. Oliver, let's hold that one. I'll hold that one for the Millwall game in a minute, Oliver. That'll be helpful. There, Sarah says Cardiff has always been good side in the Championship. Yeah, and they've had parachute money the last few times they've been down, which we know historically is a massive goalpost mover, so to speak. God, Derby are on a tear, aren't they? Derby win again. We'll start off with the form table when we talk about Derby, because there they be, 3rd in the form table, the only team in the league with 4 straight wins, only Leeds and Wigan with more points in the last 6. Derby are looking very, very impressive. And they have moved into the pockets. Only Cardiff's good form that's keeping them away there. 57 for Derby, 57 for Preston, 60 for Cardiff. Derby fans, to be fair, kept saying to me, "Oh, Ben, Derby, late playoff push, do you fancy it?" And I was like, "No, too far back. No, I don't fancy it at all." Well, they're in it now with 7 to go. They can do it if they, I mean, for goodness sake, if they, have another 4 straight wins anywhere in that 7, there's a very good chance they'll make it, because 12 points onto that total will be very nice too. But there's going to be some teams that don't make any mistakes now for the rest of the season. Derby are going to have to be one of them if they want to make the playoffs. That will be very impressive from Philip Koku, very impressive from Wayne Rooney as well, because I think if you look at the points per game pre-Rooney and the points per game after, you'll see a very big, obvious jump up there. Reading into 15th spot. Are Reading going to be the victims of my beach? We talk about the beach at the end of every year. Teams like QPR and Reading, are they going to be on the beach and sliding down the table with the dead rubbers? You don't want to do that, even if you are Reading at the moment, because Reading 49. I don't reckon 49 will be safe this season unless the bottom 3 teams kind of drift away and the other teams keep on around. I think there's going to be a high total there goes down this season. Someone's going to be the Peterborough. Did Peterborough get 50 or something, or even higher than that, and get relegated that weird season where the table concertinaed, and who got in the playoffs? Palace got in the playoffs with no points whatsoever and got promoted, didn't they, under Hallewell? Just quick one there. Tom Lawrence with the opener, nice curler. More from him in a minute. Rooney with a penalty. Rinamoto with a nice header from the edge of the box. But bad news for Derby. Tom Lawrence, dear oh me, we're going to bring the players up for discipline, and Lawrence is not going to look good there. Red card, he and Matt Miazga. Silly boys, the forearm there and a kind of headbutt. They lost it. They were trying to tempt each other in, and both of them went too far. And both of them got red cards. Both of them are going to get violent conduct as well. So, not very clever at all. Let's have a look here. Mr. Core. Mr. Core says, Rooney. Am I seeing you tomorrow, Mr. Core? Get in the comments there. Russ. My friend Russ, the Norwich fan. It's okay for an Ipswich and Norwich fan to be friends. Preston bottling it again. Looks like it. Derby doing an anti-Derby season. Yeah, they're doing it the wrong way around. Derby are doing what Villa are doing last season. Lewis says, Max Bird, unsung hero, runs it in the middle with Rooney, bags of energy and gets forward in a real eye for a pass. No wonder he's been linked to Chelsea. It must be great to be Max Bird, mustn't it? It's like, right, we're going to play 4-2-3-1. Just sit next to Rooney, shut your mouth, and do what he says. It must be brilliant. He's a good player, Max Bird, but it must be great playing with Rooney in the Championship, doesn't it? Dave says, going forward, we're great, Ben, but our defence is so fragile. Well, Norwich didn't have a defence last year, did they? Leeds didn't have a defence, and they managed to get up. Sheffield United did, and look where they are in the Premier League. So Bailey says, is there any chance fifth spot could come under challenge for teams outside the top six. Well, yes, if Derby and Cardiff both continue winning. I can't see Blackburn, Swansea, Preston, Derby and Cardiff all continue winning. That's just not going to happen. But yes, possibly. They're both on a tear. Will they keep it going? Jaggy says, do we know how long Rooney's contract is? Wonder when he'll retire. Well, if I were working for Derby, I'd be persuading him to extend it, however long it is. Reece says Fulham are going to bottle it. Looks like that at the moment, doesn't it? Bailey says about the fight between Miazga and Lawrence. Yeah, all very WWE. But it's violent conduct. You can't do that, and they're both going to get bans, aren't they? Derby next season, Lewis says, could be a force with the work. What does that say? T. Werrick coming in, or the work, I don't know what that means. Coming into this week's second best. T. Werrick. I don't know who that is. Obviously, a Dutch player coming in to sort out the defence. The only problem now for Derby is that these young players now, Bogle and Sibley, Whittaker, Knight, I'm probably missing one out there. They're going to start getting picked off. They're going to get this Brentford reputation. No, go to Derby and get your young players. Joe, 54 Peterborough went down with. Jesus, there you go. Sarah says, has Mitro been banned yet? No, that'll happen on Monday morning, won't it? All the youth players gaining more experience. Yes, they are. Not allowed until Wednesday. I'm all old and they're doing the precautions. There we go. I'll see you on Wednesday then, Mr. Core. Can Derby still lose points? Yes, they can. If they're found guilty. That'll be controversial if they get into the playoffs and get 9 points deducted. We heard something about a Telegraph report that it's being deferred. I also heard Scott Minto say it'll happen next week, whatever's happening. So we'll see. Cardiff Derby soon. Let's hope it doesn't snow. He's got a long memory, hasn't he? Hip to the Game says, if anybody's bottling, it's Bristol City will come on to them. Tony says, Leeds, 4 wins for autos. Yeah, you'd think 4 wins out of 7 would easily get it. Probably don't even need that, do they? Right, moving on. Who's next? Who is next, damn it? Wigan. You've got to love Wigan, haven't you? Let's throw up my form table so we can all marvel at the brilliance that is Wigan at the moment. Wigan are better than Leeds. There you go. There is the evidence. Over the last 6 games, just stupid form by Wigan. Ridiculous. 5 wins and a draw in 6. Look at the goals against. They haven't even let in a goal. Incredible job by Paul Cook, who is a shoo-in for manager of the month. It's all come together really nicely for Wigan, as in Kiefer Moore kind of getting sorted in the team. Jacobs and those guys behind him. Robinson coming back at fullback. They're just absolutely superb at the moment, Wigan. I would have thought, looking at that form, they'd be way clear, but they're actually not. So they still can't afford a slide. But what a run and what a performance over the last, I think it even goes back longer than that, 7 or 8 games that Wigan have been utterly brilliant. But yeah, I take my hat off to Wigan. Another excellent win over a good Blackburn team, Northwest Derby, isn't it? And they do the business again. They're tight at the back. They're scoring, and statistically the best team in the league over the past 6 games. It was Evans, Lee Evans from midfield, and Michael Jacobs late on shoring this one up. Brilliant stuff from Wigan. Blackburn have had a bit. No, they did have a win first game back, so they're not slipping. But again, the issue with Blackburn is the big tear that Derby and Cardiff have been on. Still in it though. If you're Blackburn there, you see them there in ninth position, but it's 1 win in 6, isn't it? They need some 3-pointers if these other teams are going to continue the runs. I know Cardiff and Derby can't win every week, but still, let's get some comments, hopefully, on Wigan's ridiculousness. On that fight, Bailey says, Miazga has always been a hothead. Indeed. Dale on Leeds, might be less than 2 games to go. It was 21 points. We now need 14. Yeah, indeed. 8 games, is it? 7 games, isn't it? What are we talking about? I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, 8 games. Sorry, Sarah. 8-game run for Wigan. Yeah, outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Charles says, Wigan gone berserk since winning at Leeds. They won at West Brom as well, didn't they? Looks like Cardiff copying Wigan, haven't beaten Leeds. Yeah, there you go. Wigan and Derby, top 2 since New Year's Day. Who would have predicted that? Not me. And I didn't. Sarah says, Wigan very lucky or finally clicking. I think very lucky if it was 4 or 5 games, but I think they're clicking, aren't they? No manager in the relegation battle or fighting for promotion wants to win manager of the month. Well, Paul Cook's going to win it, whether he likes it or not, isn't he? Rich on Leeds, 3 wins and a draw. We'll see Leeds up there very, very close. Dawn says Huddersfield are falling apart again. Leeds fans love to point out when other teams are falling apart, given that every single game they get to hear that very predictable chant. Nathan Jones is back at Luton. And what did I say in my predictions? I always get these wrong. I said they got no hope of going to Swansea. And we remember Swansea, first game of restart, 3-0 by half-time at Boro that saw the end for Woodgate. I said, and you can clip me on this, so I'm going to admit when I get it wrong, I said, Luton will likely have to score 2 goals to get anything out of this game. Well, no, wrong on both counts. Luton scored 1 and they won it. Outstanding start from Nathan Jones. Draw with Preston, who were 6th at the time they played them, and a win at Swansea. So 2 teams in that difficult, the teams that will be scoring high points per game in that chase for the playoffs. Absolutely superb from Luton over 2 games. The only problem for Luton, as I've said, is the same problem that Barnsley have got down the bottom there. I'll have to remove the banner so you can see this. Let me remove the Super Chat. I'm sure I'll have to put that one back in to get rid of both. Luton and Barnsley, both 4 points from 2 games. Look at the form as well. We've said they're both up there. Luton have got 9 from 5. And Barnsley have got, 10 from 6. But the gap is still there. Although Luton now could pull level with either Huddersfield and Hull with a win next time. I think they've got Leeds, haven't they? So maybe they want to write that one off. But the gap still stays there. So very, you can say it's unlucky for Luton and Barnsley because they've just found their form too late, haven't they? If they'd got some of these points on the board earlier in the season, and remember both Luton and Barnsley really, really bad on the point scoring right the way up until Christmas, pretty much until that 7-0 for Luton at Brentford and until Gerhard Struber arrived at Barnsley. But they've both had little spurts and they're probably by no means the worst teams in the league over the last probably even like 15, 20 games or so. But yeah, it's just been so bad for them beforehand that they're struggling to keep up now. But impressive stuff from Nathan Jones. Some Luton fans didn't want him back. Swansea, you're starting to worry if you're a Swansea fan because you know that parachute money, what are we on now? Is it year 3 or is it year 2? I think it's year 2. Am I right about that? Someone tell me in the comments. How many more years of parachute? I think they're on year 2 or 3, aren't they? But remember, that's dropping away. And you just worry for Swansea. We've seen what happens to clubs when they have to retool from being a parachute team to a non-parachute team. Sometimes it's very hard going unless you've got big saleable assets. Obviously, people like Selena and Ayew and Byers and Grimes, they have got saleable assets, but they don't last forever, do they? So Swansea, they're going to make the playoffs. There's problems for them going forward if they don't into next season. It was Collins with the goal on 72 in this one. Let's get some comments in. Go a bit higher than that, I wonder. Leeds 2020 says, I want Luton to stay up. Do you know what? Let's put all biases aside. I live in Bedfordshire. I want Luton to stay up too. I try and do this channel neutral, but it's my closest championship ground, so it'd be great if they did. On Brentford, Joe says, if Brentford win 5 of 7, not easy. Leeds only need 2 wins and 2 draws. There you go. For Brentford, it's not about catching Leeds anymore. It's about catching West Brom after Friday, isn't it? Joe says, Leeds played Leeds have fallen apart through the speakers. If that's true, that's tremendous. Charles, Paul Cook, a very good manager, does it without money, resources. It's called coaching. There you go, indeed. Oliver says, does seem teams that have hostile fans or noisy fans, a lot of teams are struggling with it. It seems, Sarah says, Hull are looking very bad indeed. We'll go on to that. Wonder why they wanted to end the season on points per game. Thanks, Russ. Yeah, so year 2 of 3, Swansea on the parachutes. And obviously they're going to go down 42 million, 35 million, 15 million next season. Nick says, keeping fake crowd noise. Oh, don't wind people up, Nick. Carrow Road and Craven Cottage. Yeah, we've heard all these jokes now, haven't we, Nick? Tony says, Luton, poor goal difference. Yeah, that's the big issue for Luton, is that Graham Jones, for the first probably 20 games of this, just went full Nathan Jones and didn't change the tactics. And they were so open, weren't they? And got some batterings. All Things Lee says, I want Luton to stay up if that meant Hull, Boro and Huddersfield went down. Well, we talk about Boro again in a minute. Don't see Swansea having same issues as Boro. Yeah, there's a bit more of a culture there at Swansea, Russ, isn't there? And I've already read that one. I'm going to do one of this for. Here we go again. Lewis Wing or Luongo. Oh, God. Well, two different players, aren't they? For long-range shots, I'll have Lewis Wing. For championship midfield. Donny Isaac says, do a line for us, Benny. Well, maybe not at my age, but get involved in the super chat if you want me to do any dares for you. But yeah, that may not go down well with YouTube if I do that. Assuming he's saying what I think he's saying. But we'll move on swiftly from that. Oliver, the Millwall fan, can you get your comments in again now on this Millwall game? Barnsley 0, Millwall 0. It's probably an all right result for both of them. And Millwall are just going to be disappointed that they were ahead against Derby and they lost that one, because then your away draw against Barnsley are actually quite decent. The clean sheet looks all right in context. But annoyingly, they'll kind of both take it, but it doesn't help either of them because in both Millwall and Barnsley's cases, Millwall are now up against Cardiff and Derby who've taken 6 points. And Barnsley have dropped to the bottom of the table, having scored 4 points in 2 games on the restart, which just frankly sucks for them. But again, we'll reiterate with maybe with Millwall as well. The points dropped under Harris earlier in the season are going to come back to bite them in the playoff push. And certainly for Barnsley, looking down there, they're in good form, but it still needs to be sort of either 6 or 7 points from the next 3 games to be in and around, considering that other teams will pick up points and are picking up points at the moment, the safety zone. So it's difficult. I don't want this to be the case, but there's some big teams in there. Look at that, Stoke, Borough, Huddersfield. And you know how these things end, don't you? When you've got Stoke, Borough, Huddersfield, and you've got Luton, Barnsley, Charlton, Wigan. Often the smaller, less money teams are the ones that end up falling out the bottom there, don't they? Donny's laughing. There we go. Luongo is somewhat sloppy on the ball, I'd say. FA Cup semi-final draw taking place now. Let us know who happens. Russ says, I think he meant singing. Okay, sorry. I must have taken that out of context. Anyone on Millwall, Barnsley? For me, Cardiff has too much quality and momentum to give up that 6th. That might be the case. Cardiff could shut it down now, couldn't they? If they keep around 1.8 points per game or higher, then no one's going to make up that 3 points, are they? So, do I think there being no crowds helps Derby as it's like an under-23 game for all the young players? Might be something in that. Who knows? We can judge at the end, can't we? Cup semis. Man United v Chelsea and Arsenal versus Newcastle or Manchester City. So where are Liverpool in all this? They got knocked out, did they? I'm such a championship head. Keith says Super Brentford. On July the 7th, Luton plays Barnsley. So there you go. Someone's dropping points that day. Anyway, aren't they? If Wallace to do well seems the whole team does not, we have to have cutting edge from midfield to supply the forwards. That obviously not happening. But then Gary Rowett loves a draw, and it kind of sees Millwall all right a lot of the time, doesn't it? Blaze Dragon, nice name. Evening Ben, who do you think will finish first and second? Who wins the playoffs? I've got to stick with what I said before lockdown. I said Leeds and West Brom for first and second, and I fancied Forest in the playoffs. Obviously, Brentford looked very good. Cardiff now look good, but you just feel with Forest they're going to be hard to score against, aren't they? All Things Leeds. I'd be worried if I was a West Brom fan. I need to stick some points up. Did I see Alioski celebrating with the fans? Yes, and Harrison did as well, didn't he? Chelsea knocked Liverpool out. Yeah, thank you for you two. Well, 3 people told me that. Shows what I know about these top teams. I would have been disappointed in Barnsley versus Millwall if it was anything else other than 0-0. There we go. Right, we are nearly through. When do I get to talk about Neil Warnock? Not yet. I had to talk about one of my other favourite subjects now, Lee Johnson, because Bristol City are tanking it, aren't they? Streaky Lee is doing his downward streak at the moment. Let me get rid of that. Let me just bring up the form table. You saw that Bristol City and Wednesday were 12th and 13th. Look at Bristol City down there, 23rd in the form table, 2 points from 6. That's really stitched them up. I remember one of our commenters, I think his name's Jeffrey, I called Bristol City an outsider for the playoffs, and he was arguing with me. They're only 1 point off them. Well, they've shed that in just 2 games, 2 defeats from them. And obviously, if you have 2 defeats, whilst Derby win 2 and Cardiff win 2, whoop, there goes 6 points very, very fast. And you slip down the table very fast. And Bristol City all the way down to 12th. Obviously, that could change very, very quickly. Connor Wickham's in nice form, ex-Ipswich player. Another one we let go and gave away. He scores a nice header on 13. Luongo, who's got mentioned in this chat already, gets the second. Naki Wells. How many goals? Someone let me know in the comments how many goals Wells has got for Bristol City. Must be closing in on sort of 16 or 17 for the season for both QPR and Bristol City, mustn't he? But he's learned from Burnley, wasn't he? Yeah, he was on a loan, of course. So, yeah, Bristol City tanking it. Sheffield Wednesday need these points on. Although, as one of my friends in the Blue Monday group pointed out, if the EFL are going to fudge it like they did with Macclesfield, then however many points it takes Wednesday to be one from safety, that's probably what they'll get deducted. Macclesfield, remember, just getting 2 points for about their 15th infraction this season, which miraculously meant that they weren't relegated and they wouldn't be all hell breaking loose in legal stuff. Bristol City win 5 on the bounce, then lose 5. Yeah, Streaky Lee. There we go. Where am I going here? John says, do I think Fulham could finish outside the top 6? No, I think there's too much quality in the team for that. Russ is doing my marketing for me. Like and hit the subscribe button, please. Ollie on tour. Leeds FC were the greatest team in football the world has ever seen. Lovely. Neil says, well done for your damage limitation exercise after the halftime report yesterday. Don't upset them Leeds fans. What did I do that was damage limitations? I try and tell it down the middle. Yes, obviously I am a little bit scared of Leeds fans because they do come in big numbers when I upset them. But I do try and tell it down the middle, hey? And they were going at me for being a curse for the longest time. So Lee Johnson's side seem to come up short nowadays. Yeah, all agreed. They used to be a joy to watch a couple of years ago. Indeed. Really happy about Wednesday winning because they have West Brom next. And if they get something out of it, West Brom are really in the crap. I can say that without getting demonetised. Oliver predicted that one. Oh, sorry. I've scrolled down too far there. Oh, yeah. It says Bristol was shocking today. Anyone losing to us is doing something wrong. But every time I say, oh, Bristol City are rubbish, they're on a bad run. As Russ said, they win 5 on the bounce, don't they? My YouTube friend is a Bristol fan. Said Lee Johnson is not the man to take them up. Interesting, because that's a really nice job for someone. Steve Lansdown there, the chairman's built the stadium up. The recruitment's really good outside of Johnson. I'm sure our friends Mr. McCarthy and Mr. Bruce and Mr. Houghton would all happily take that job when they come back. Andy with the Derby badge, beginning to think Fulham are going to drop out of the top 6. That's been a long-standing view in this chat today. Mitrovic should be banned. Yeah, that will happen, won't it? 2 goals for Bristol City, I believe, with 13 for QPR. I'm not sure if today's goal is included. Oh, thank you. So 15 in total. Very, very good. Bristol worst team home and away when Brentford played them, says Keith. I must say, if commenters put Bristol, I'm reading their comment. I know Bristol City fans get cross if I call them Bristol and not Bristol City, because there's another team in Bristol. Right, let's have a little look where we are. Can I talk about Neil Warnock yet? No, I still can't, because I have to talk about Lee Bowyer and another tear. We were worried about Charlton, weren't we? Why on earth were we worried about Charlton? 2 games back. Bosh. 2 wins, 2 1-0s, I think, as well, haven't they? So no goals conceded. Great job by Lee Bowyer. Dropped in there just before lockdown into the bottom 3. Remember the narrative of this season for Charlton. First 6 games, brilliant. And then gradually, pretty rubbish for a lot of games. But they're doing it now when it matters. QPR, am I bunching them in with Reading on the beach zone there? It's worrying for these teams, especially given how that relegation's moving. you're not safe if you're in the bottom half at the moment, and it's great, the Championship. Basically, you're not safe if you're in the bottom half, and you could get promoted if you're in the top half. Who scored the goal? Darren Pratley. My God, Darren Pratley. He's been around a fair old while, hasn't he? So yeah, Charlton moving away from the bottom of the table with those 2 victories. Can we see them if we do that? Yes, we can. 18th. I'll remove the banner as well. Yeah, Charlton 45, so 3 off it. They're not safe, but look at that, 3 wins in 6, 2 wins on the trot. Those players that want to play for Lee Bowyer look like they are up for it, and that's all you want to see when your team's down the bottom is like, are these players scared or are they going to fight for my club? And Charlton are most definitely fighting for their club, aren't they? Russ asks, how old is Pratley? I don't know, 35, 36? Huddersfield in relegation zone. Love to see them down. Lots of Leeds fans are saying that, aren't they? Wonder what the dynamic will be like if we go up and face Man City, and for the first time in Marcelo Bielsa's tenure, is beaten by a better team. Will be weird hearing how he admits it. Well, remember, the Premier League is difficult, and as much as those Leeds players have done brilliantly, they will still need to add some. You may have the best strategy. Well, you won't in the Premier League because there's Klopp and Guardiola and probably Pochettino back and Mourinho and people like that. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting for Leeds fans, but they'll take it after 16 years or whatever. Liam Kelly should have saved that goal, and Jordan Hugill missed an absolute sitter. We're talking Rangers and Charlton. Yeah, not good for Rangers. We have West Brom representation. Good. John says, I'm a West Brom fan, and you know what? Things are looking grim. 2020 just to continue being a shocking year. Charles says, read a report 5 senior players are not playing for Sheffield Wednesday on Wednesday for being out of contract. Name names, Charles. Name names. Some of those big Chansiri contracts are running down, aren't they? Interesting. Mike says, the dogfight at the bottom can make the running of teams at the top more difficult. Totally agree with that. I've always said you're better off playing a team who's between 12th and, I don't know, 15th, 16th than you are playing one of the bottom 6, especially this season of all. Dom, wonderful. Dom with a super chat, donated £10 to the channel. That is absolutely wonderful. You know the rules there. We've got to drink to Dom. And I must tell people, it doesn't go in the wine fund. It really, really doesn't. My job quote doesn't exist as of September, so I'd love to do this part-time. So anyone donating, it goes in the pot, and hopefully there'll be a time where I can say, right, I'm going to be able to take this time out and really work on the YouTube. So Dom, thank you, muchly appreciated. If anyone else wants to join, you can here on Super Chat or subscribe on Patreon. Derby v Forest next week. Oh, is it indeed? Excellent. Can't understand how Hugill thinks he can get to West Ham team. He's only in ours because we've not got another striker. I think Hugill, though, generally is a decent enough Championship striker, but yes, he wasn't as good as Wells. Fletcher and Fox. I think someone else mentioned Fletcher and Forestieri. There you go. This one will get Russ, the Norwich fan, going. Thoughts, Ben, on the links between Leeds and Buendia? It's not going to happen, Rico. There's going to be big teams interested, and it's going to be a lot of money. I know Leeds are going to be able to draw huge money, but I think he's going to go higher than the newly promoted team. Very good player, Buendia. But stranger things have happened, and if it's a depressed transfer market and Leeds are prepared to gamble, then interesting. But he would be utterly brilliant with Bielsa managing him, though. Someone asked me about Grealish and Leeds as well. I would say the same thing. Anyone would be brilliant with Bielsa managing them. There we go. Leeds inquired. Yeah, I've heard these links. Yeah, Russ says can't see it. It's going to be it'll be a Norwich transfer record. I think Maddison was 25 million, so it's likely to be a huge amount of money. Leeds 2020. I hope Ipswich goes up next season. Well, by God, Leeds 2020. So do I. We're getting naming names here. So what? Fox, Forestieri, Fletcher. There was one more, wasn't there? We're naming these names. So Wednesday could be limp for the end of the season. Interesting. Ian, wonderful. Thank you very much contributing on the. Let's drink to Ian there. Keep the Leeds support going. Hey, I'm completely neutral here, except when it comes to Ipswich matters, but very much a fan of what Leeds have done over the last 2 years. Derby's next 3 games, says Lewis. Preston away, Forest at home, West Brom away. I tell you what, if they get 6 points from those 3, they're really on a serious tear, aren't they? Oh, yes, right. Can we get on to Warnock now? Warnock asked Gusted if he was committed to play for Boro. Gusted said he was afraid to get injured. Warnock sent him home and told him not to get back. Unbelievable scenes. Colin is back, and we still can't talk about him because we've got to do Birmingham 3, Hull 3. Hull were 2-0 up in this, weren't they? And I thought, where has that come from? McGuinness and Scott on 16 minutes put them 2-0 up. Birmingham presumably getting a rollicking from Pep Clotet, the dead man walking there at Blues. He's out of a job at the end of the season. But it seemed to work because Gardner and Crowley make it 2-2. But Todd Kane smuggles in a pretty clever free kick, gives the keeper the eyes, rolls it in the other corner. Nice goal there. Gardner gets his second, equalises on 88. Quite the game there. Quite the missed opportunity for Hull. They can't buy a win at the moment, Hull. Let's bring up our 2 tables. We'll look at the league table first, and then we'll look at the form table, because you probably see these teams in the bottom segments of both. So Birmingham are not safe on 49, I have to say. I don't think they should be in trouble. They should manage to get a couple of wins between now and the end of the season. But look at that, 5 draws in 6, only 5 points, and that's a lot worse than a few teams are performing below them. Hull have obviously been dreadful ever since Bowen and Grzycki left, haven't they? And, well, it's an improvement. They're in the lead. They'll feel like they should have won it, but baby steps when you're trying to get out of trouble. But from my experience of watching Ipswich last year, these opportunities come few and far between, and you need to take them and get those wins when you can. Let's just bring up the form table, and you'll see Hull right at the bottom there, 1 point in 6. Birmingham, 21st in the form table. So, in respects of both of those teams, they need to look over this. I mean, look, Hull is blindingly obvious, but Birmingham do need to. If you look at Birmingham's bench as well, it's literally just all the youngsters, isn't it? The out-of-contract players have all gone. They've basically got a good first 11 and then nothing behind it. So, yeah, if that tear below continues and that tide rises, you would be worried for Birmingham. Hull, a lot of people have got to go down now, given the walkout there and the 2 best players going in January. So let's have a little look at your comments. Where are we? Russ says, is 25 quid donation a downer? Please don't make me play alcohol games live on the internet, Russ, and you've already done more than enough. And Brentford after them 3 indeed. Oh, have I got that wrong? Sorry, the Waffler says Herbie Kane. He's totally right, isn't he? Who does Todd Kane play for? QPR? Yeah, Herbie Kane. Sorry. Got that wrong. Happy to admit it. Some of the Birmingham defending that match was genuinely shocking. Although Bella, yes, I was going to mention that. Bella got a couple of beautiful assists from the left wing, cutting in on his right foot. That was a damn good signing, wasn't it? Free transfer. He was a free agent as well. They signed him outside of the window. Brilliant bit of business that by Birmingham. We'll see where Bella is. If someone can tell me in the comments how old Bella is. Lawrence suspended for 3 games for Derby. Yes, silly boy. Andy, silly boy. Well, I'm sure we'll just see the... what about Joseph soon? Can he play some games now? Ian says instant impact by Warnock at Boro. Stoke looked a bit disjointed. Fire sale at Boro if they go down. Fire sale anywhere if anyone goes down, isn't it? Norwich City will be in this league, the Championship, next season when they are getting relegated from the Premier League. Yep, that's how it works, Eugene. Brentford will go up automatic, says Andy. He doesn't fancy West Brom. Or Wigan, I think you mean Winnall, don't you? Winnall, there we go for Sheffield Wednesday. Winnall's gone. Is he a free agent? Now, this is where I don't understand the rules. If they're free agents, can they then go and sign for someone else? Surely a transfer window is irrelevant then. So, Bella's 27. I don't know if anyone knows the rulings on that. Here we go then, guys. Warnock is back. We all predicted an away win with a clean sheet, with goals from set plays, and Stoke significantly having higher possession than XG. All of those things happened. Brilliant. Warnock's back, and straight away he wins. It was Fletcher with the set play goal. And I always said about Warnock, he lets the flair players do their thing. Probably no coincidence that Tavernier is dribbling outside the edge of the box, Hoylett style, and blasting the ball in for the second one. If you've seen the replay, the clips of this game, though, Stoke should have scored about 5 goals. They missed some big chances, and on the XG, they should have won this game. But this is Warnock we're dealing with now, and look out for Boro's push on. I think they just don't want to be complacent. They just don't want to think, okay, we've got Warnock in, we are safe now, because there will be defeats in there for Boro. But welcome back, Mr. Warnock. Textbook signature win there, and most people assume that would see Boro over the line, wouldn't it? Colin and his tractor. There we go. Oliver says, shows how little players are committed to clubs now. Days and just after a paycheck. Well, it's difficult, isn't it? It's very difficult when contracts are concerned, because you always have the argument, well, this is what I signed up to do, and this is what I'm going to do. And a lot of people will go by that logic. But which club was it? Was it Swansea, I think, where 5 players have agreed to all play on? So Russ says, Colin. There we go. Oh, I'm getting some stick for the Josephson comment. Lewis says, we'd rather have Stevie Wonder playing than Josephson. Andy says, Josephson is rubbish. Never played well. I'd play no. I was only asking. There you go. That's why we had the comments here. I'm no expert on Derby. Harvey says, very worried Stokey here. If we play like we've done since the restart for the rest of the season, it breaks my heart to say we'll be in League One next season. Wow, it'd be incredible if Stoke went through the bottom there with that squad, that wage bill, Bet365, parachute payments, etc. But there you go. Need to put the points on the board, don't I? I honestly think those big clubs generally will be all right, won't they? Rico says, I don't care if I'm a Leeds fan. I love Warnock. There we go. Another one of the Wednesday 5, Sam Hutchinson. There we go. Right. Have we done all of the games? We've done all of the games. So we'll do a little bit of Q&A. First of all, one last look at the league table. But I'll have to remove Charles' comment there before we can actually see it. Oh, my God. And then the banner comes up. Look at me, technophobe here. I'm trying. Up the top, Leeds, 3 points clear of West Brom. Leeds in good form if you look at the last 6. West Brom sliding, not in good form if you look at the last 4. Particularly Brentford in excellent form, up to 3rd. 5-point gap, though, is a big gap still. Don't forget that. Forest move up into 4th position with their win today. They go by Fulham on goal difference, who have dropped from 3rd and are not in good form. Cardiff are in excellent form and have moved into 6th. 3 straight wins from there. Preston look like they're on the way out of the playoffs if that form continues, but they've had a couple of streaky moments this season and come back well. Derby are on a tear, 4 straight wins. Only FFP and maybe Cardiff can stop them if they continue that run. Blackburn seem destined to be there or thereabouts, 9-4-10 all season, whatever happens. Swansea, well, there's not enough wins in that last 6 to maintain a challenge, and Millwall need to put some wins, but they're still hard to beat. Bristol City on poor form down at the bottom of that form table. Wednesday, 52 points, 10 above relegation, a 9-point FFP deduction, and they would be safe. That's the number we're looking at if that happens. QPR, Reading and Birmingham, we're worried about the beach for those 3. They need to not be complacent. Wigan are incredible, but still only 5 points off the drop. Charlton, brilliant double win for them. Boro have Warnock. Stoke, worrying, but surely enough evidence under Michael O'Neill that part of the season that they're going to do it. Hull, still a lot of people's favourites. Huddersfield, you'd be worried, but ex-Premier League players in there, surely they have enough to dig them out. It'd be quite the relegation that, wouldn't it? Luton and Barnsley both playing well, but the gaps still remain. Really, really interesting table. Let's just top and tail the form table. Wigan, incredible. Leeds, Derby, Brentford, Cardiff, Barnsley make up the top 6 in form. And for Harvey, who was worrying about Stoke, look there, still 9 points in 6 games. Down at the bottom there, Hull, who've been hopeless for a while. Bristol City and Preston, that's hindering their playoff campaigns right down the bottom there of the form table. Birmingham, if that continues, they will get sucked down lower. Blackburn, yeah, that's hindering a playoff push. And Huddersfield need more than that. Millwall lower than I expected as well. Let's have a look at some player stats here. Our top scorers there, reading backwards, Jutkovic, Fletcher, although he might not have a club after Wednesday, according to this. And Buemo just back. Woodrow, good season for Barnsley. Pat Bamford, don't doubt him. There he is, 6th top scorer in the league, 14 goals, 24% goal contribution for Leeds. Jared Bowen, where would Hull would probably be about 13th if he was still there, wouldn't they? Carlin Grant added 1 today, but Lewis Grabban added 2 on 19. And the 2 guys up the top there, no goals from Mitrovic since the restart, but Watkins has gone level with 23. Tom Lawrence has moved to the top of the wrong table there. If you look on the left, aggression, 12 yellows, 1 red, not clever. And if you look to the right and you see Mitrovic, Ben Rama, Woodrow, Bowen, Bamford, the top shooters or the most shots per game, although I think some Leeds fans would like to see Mitrovic in the discipline table after Saturday. Assists, well, we do and we don't pay attention to those, but they do tell us the most creative players in teams. It's a dead giveaway there. Eliasson's had a freak of a season because he barely started any games, but seems to get assists every time he's there. And Pereira, Swift, Wallace, Downing, obviously the main creative influences in their team. And the who scored ratings there, take them with a pinch of salt. Remember, they're done by a computer. Eze, top for QPR with Benrahma, Bowen, Pereira, Ayew, all names we would expect to be around there. Do not cry if you do not see your team's best player in there. Right, shall we have a little look at some comments? Warnock is a championship expert. There we go. Of course he is. Players have to have best interest at heart. If they get injured, our current club's going to take care of them. Well, I have to say, from the point of view of my own club, Ipswich, Grant Ward did his cruciate ligament there, and they've always let Luke Varney come back and train. So clubs do the decent thing oftentimes, but sometimes they don't. And remember, clubs do very childish things, like when people don't sign contracts, they make them train with the reserves and bomb them out and, you know, do all sorts of weird mind games. So it does work both ways, doesn't it? What positions do I think Derby need to improve next season for a more consistent season? Well, I suppose like any team, I mean, Chris Martin's been decent, but any team would like a nice focal point to score them 15 goals up top. Otherwise, they're fairly well balanced across the team. It's just putting Rooney in a cryogenic chamber and making him play for another 5 seasons, I guess. Sarah says Boro promotion next season wouldn't be the most incredible thing Warnock has done. Forest Derby soon looks tasty. That will be very tasty and a nice clash of styles. I was at the first game between those 2 teams in person, so do check out my review of that on the channel. Good job lockdown came when it did and not the beginning of the season. I'd be worried. I don't think Millwall have got any worries. They consistently outperform their size and spend. Max Collin or Moses Odubajo. On the basis of this season, Max Collins played well, doesn't he? Oh dear, that's naughty. Marvellous being shown again this week. A must-see about a Stoke fan. Oh, okay. I'll check that out. Won't be any more for Mitrovic until after his 3-game ban. That's a good point, actually. Ollie Watkins, they're very competitive, these two, aren't they, when you hear them interviewed? He may well get ahead there. What's going on with FFP, says Darwin? Derby on Wednesday, just going to get away with it, dragging on forever. I don't know. My belief is if they've been charged this season for infractions that happened on the previous financial year, then they should take the points this season. If they are guilty, I never said they were guilty, so we'll see. But you can see the EFL doing something like adding up how many points Wednesday need to be safe and not docking them that amount. So what did Birmingham get? 9. 9 would be the precedent, although there's been all sorts of appeals and stuff. So, yeah, we will see. Josh says, up the Luton indeed. As a Leeds fan, I'm drowning in pinches of salt. There we go. Fulham dropped another place in the table. Yes, they did, Danny. Who should be the manager of the season? I really need to reserve judgment because if, for example, if Philippe Koku gets into the playoffs with Derby in his first season and wins it and gets them promoted, then obviously he should be the manager. Anyone who makes a late tear or something. I don't think people like Bielsa or Bilic need that affirmation, don't they? They're both high caliber managers. I don't know. Yeah, James says Sabri. It's not a bad shout. He's done a real turnaround at Forest. I'll reserve judgment. Derby's case isn't quite the same as Wednesday. Their dates for the sale is a problem here. Both different cases there. Luke says, only team Warnock failed at was Leeds. Yeah, probably right, actually. Wednesday is so much better now. They got rid of the bad attitudes, particularly Hutchinson. Yeah, we talked about those guys. Thomas Frank, shout for manager of the season again. If he gets them up, then yeah, it's a decent shout. I'll stop it. I'm not answering that one. Rooney or Hernandez. Russ is behind the Moosey. Max Day with Max, outstanding. Go and follow him subscribe on YouTube. Great channel there. And also, I'm an old guy compared to him. He's really got a chance of doing this as a career. So go and support him so he can go and make that step there. Do you think we could go up automatically? I don't think automatically, Max, but looking good for the playoffs and very hard team to score against in the playoffs. Ben, Dom Howson claims that the EFL have reached a conclusion on Sheffield Wednesday. Expect something soon. Maxwell, who is Dom Howson? Is he a local guy with Wednesday? I would assume that they know what they want to do, but COVID has delayed everything massively. So Rico says has to be Rowett. Chris says any chance of Leeds keeping Ben White? I don't think so. No, I think he's just been too good, and that's the only issue with loans is that they really, really do benefit the loaning team sometimes, don't they? Whereas if Ben White had been terrible, then Leeds wouldn't want him and Brighton wouldn't want him. But Ben White's obviously been very, very good. So I think you could see break my heart, hey, because we had Adam Webster at Ipswich, but you could see Adam Webster and Ben White together in the Prem. Andy says we won't go up. 8th. Interesting. Who do you think will go down from the Premier League? Not sure, but I did see a stat saying that the bottom 5 have picked up like no points from 13 combined games there. Derby hired top sport lawyer to battle the EFL. Yeah, this is Kieran Maguire's mate Nick DeMarco, isn't it? So Kieran always moans at lawyers making lots of money and then he's mates with one. So naughty Kieran. He's my mate, I can say that. Thoughts on Exeter versus Northampton? Can I make it really selfish and all about me again, the waffler? I want it to be Northampton because I can get to some games there and they'll be in the same division as Ipswich and it's a nice short journey for me. Brilliant, wonderful stuff. We've got loads of people still in the chat. If anybody in the chat could just hit that thumbs up button. I owe a big thank you for the 2 super chat. Sorry, I'm just going to have to go up via Wigan to get that back. There we go. Huge thank you to the 2 super chats in there. Obviously, I do appreciate each and every one of you coming in and watching, and it'll always be free on YouTube. And the comments are invaluable. So, like, take that Joseph thing about Derby, where I asked about that, and then within seconds, I've got a comment back saying no. Not going to happen. He's not done well at Derby. So people tell me I know what I'm talking about when it comes to Championship, but it's all because of this interaction here. This is going to be a ridiculous 4 weeks now. So the plan will be that these match week reviews will be on the Sunday night, but then we'll be back in with a preview tomorrow night. So it'll be a similar sort of thing tomorrow. We'll look at all the games. I'll try my best to keep up with everything, but I always used to have real trouble with 3-game weeks when I'd be doing reviews, previews, and probably be at either 2 or 3 games. Obviously, it's less of a struggle not having to travel to games, but I'll try my best to keep up, try my best to keep everybody appraised. But you can really help me out, firstly, by hitting subscribe and ringing the bell so you can see whenever I'm going to be live and come and join. Secondly, by hitting thumbs up on Twitter or on YouTube, which allows other people to find the channel and hopefully allows me another step closer to my journey and hopefully making this a viable pursuit. So with 7 games to go, this is a 3-game week, as I call it. I know pedants like to say, look, it's 8 days, but you know what I mean. Across Saturday to Saturday, it's going to be 3 games. So a lot will be known by this point next week. So do tune in. Excuse me. I'm just going to have a little look and try and tell you what is going to be happening this week. In terms of what I'm going to be covering. So we'll do the preview tomorrow night. Then on Tuesday, we've got a choice. Wigan Stoke, Leeds Luton, QPR Fulham, Reading Brentford, Cardiff Charlton, Barnsley Blackburn, Millwall Swansea. So I'll probably cover one of those games, so tune in for that. On Wednesday, we may well be live again. Preston Derby looks interesting. Birmingham, Huddersfield, Forest, Bristol City. Wednesday at West Brom, that will be a very interesting one. So we'll see what happens there. Then in theory, as I pressed the wrong button, we'll do the preview. We'll do the review on Thursday of all the games. Maybe after Hull Boro, because there's still one more. Then we go to Friday and we're going already. Charlton, Millwall, all sorts of stuff going on. League One playoffs. Look, all I can say is I'll try and keep up, but do just keep tuned in and we'll see. Let's just check these final comments. Sarah says, obviously I'm going to read that one. You're great, Ben. Keep it up. There we go. Any other shout outs? There's more questions, but I think we'll leave it on that nice note there. Thank you so much, you lot in the comments. Brilliant. Nearly 150 people live and watching at one time. And I hope I'm not sounding snobby about this, we do get a really kind of certain type of football fan who can really give us good knowledge watching this channel. Long may it continue. And let's try and make this the best place for where the chat's not what it can be on some other platforms, let's just say. And we get in these, good, well thought out, sensible analysis that's balanced and not just people screaming and shouting at each other. There we go. Russ says, big love, fella. Have a great evening. I'm going to go and watch the last couple of episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't know if anybody's watched that series with Larry David, because Now TV are taking it off in 2 days. I've got 2 episodes left and replacing it with The Office, of which I've seen all of it. So if there's any Curb Your Enthusiasms, I'll say that's pretty good and you'll know what I mean. And I'll say farewell to everybody. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the super chats. Absolutely wonderful support. And you can subscribe to me on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Wall-to-wall content now. We're at it now until like July the 22nd. Russ says, let's build this palace. Let's do it. Leeds 2020 says, let's have a great night. Let's go and watch Curb. Drink the rest of my red wine before work tomorrow and make sure that I'm not quite with it in the morning. There we go. Thank you for watching.